All these things that were side effects of taking Accutane, you're kind of like, oh my god, like, is that something I really want to do? What's up guys, Tami here, back with another video, and today we're gonna get a little intimate. We're gonna have a little chit chat about why I decided to finally go on Accutane. I'm gonna share with you guys all the things that I went through throughout my life that led me up to making the decision to go on Accutane. Before I get started, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Tami. I had really severe acne throughout my young adult life. Went on Accutane, cleared up my acne, got it again, and almost had to go on it for the second time. I started this channel to document my journey on getting flawless skin. So I tried different skin products and skincare treatments, and I share them with you guys here on YouTube. So if all that sounds good so far, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and let's get to the video. So guys, if you guys have a lot of acne and you are researching whether you should go on Accutane, this is a video for you. I'm going to share with you guys, what my skin was before I had acne, the things that I went through in my life, professionally, personally, and then why I finally decided to go on Accutane. It's going to get a little chitty chatty, and I have my coffee here for a little sippy sip. You guys should get a little drink too, and let's just get to the video. Basically, my skin during my adolescent years, 8th grade in high school, 8th grade and on throughout high school, was super clear, guys. Like, I had no skin problems at all, just a little blackheads on my nose, which are pretty normal. And a lot of my friends were the opposite. They were having really severe breakouts, having like hormonal breakouts, blemishes, really oily skin, just like any average person going through puberty would. But I didn't have that problem. The worst that I would get is just that big Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer pimple on my nose, literally probably just twice a year, and that's probably it. So I really didn't have a problem in high school, and I didn't really have a skincare routine either in high school. I just washed my face with water and that's it. No cleanser, no toner, no moisturizer, no sunscreen, none of that. And I think that is probably one of the reasons why, it led up to having really bad acne in the future. I didn't have that strong foundation of really taking care of my skin because it was just self-sustained during my adolescent years, and I just thought that I was blessed with good skin, right? Joke's on me. Basically had a skincare routine just like a guy. Water. And let me mind you guys, like back then, and I'm gonna date myself as I talk throughout this video because you're gonna be like, what? You didn't have that when you were younger? So basically, when I was younger, like, YouTube wasn't a thing. If you wanted to research something, you would have to like go to a specialist or like ask your friends. Like, it was just very not easily accessible. So skincare routines, like what types of cleanser to use, like what causes acne, all those things, like, you would not know about it unless you went to a dermatologist. And like I mentioned, like, I had really clear skin. When I had like 1 or 2 huge pimples and when I had blackheads, my mom bought me the Proactive skincare system, which I never used because I felt like I didn't need it. In high school, clear skin, lack of a good skincare routine foundation, right? So fast forward to college. Everybody knows what happens in college. Like, I moved away from home. I was partying a lot. My schedule basically did a topsy-turvy. I would sleep during the day and then party and be up all night. I would get drunchies, eat in the middle of the night, eat at 4 a.m. And this is around the time where I started dabbling in makeup. Again, I didn't have a strong skincare routine foundation. So when I washed my face, I would just use, makeup remover for like my eyeliner and things like that, and then just like wash it with water. I didn't double cleanse, nothing like that. So before you know it, my skin went from super clear to just almost instantly overnight blemishes everywhere. And the way that I handled blemishes was just, it's gonna go away, because that's what happened in high school. Like, when I would get a big old pimple like right here, it would just go away. So I really didn't pay attention to it and really didn't seriously think about, oh my gosh, like, something is wrong. And also back then, like, YouTube wasn't a thing yet. Googling stuff wasn't a thing yet. When I was in college, we didn't even have data plan until like you know, towards the later years of when I graduated. Again, information wasn't like easily at your fingertip. In college, my skin just broke out and I really didn't take care of it or like really go the extra mile to try to treat it. And I remember like that was when it started taking a toll on my confidence. I would lie in bed at night, but I still wouldn't know how to take care of it. That is my fault too. Like if you see something wrong, you should go and take the steps to take care of it, which I didn't. After college, that's when I seriously started trying to really treat it, and by then it's too late. My skin barrier is messed up. Like, you know, my skin is so sensitive. It was so sensitive that any little thing would literally break it out. And anything that I would try, people say like, you know, try tea tree oil, like stop eating spicy foods, like make sure you go to bed at night so your skin can like rejuvenate just like the rest of your body, and then double cleanse, like things like that. It was already too late. Like my skin was already kaput, and that's when it started taking a toll like on my mental and my self-esteem. You know, like when I went to college, I was 17, so all the way up till probably my 30s, which is more than 10 years, like I dealt with this acne problem and I couldn't get rid of it. And it really affected all parts of my life. Like when I graduated college and I was, you know, interviewing for a job. Back then when we interviewed for jobs, like you would literally go in person. It wouldn't be like a video thing. So I would always do super good on the phone, like the phone screening, and then when I would go in person, I wouldn't get the job. So this is how it affected me in my professional career. Like I would think that, you know, I'm so qualified for this job. Like I kicked ass in the phone interview, and like when I went in person, like I think I went to like 10 interviews, like I just didn't get it. And I felt like it had to do with my skin. My self-esteem and my confidence was already so low at the point. Anything that didn't go my way, I would somehow tie it to my complexion. So I would think, oh, I didn't get this job because they saw me in person and they saw that I had acne, and probably associated like the lack of me taking care of myself, aka acne, was a reflection on my work ethic. I would just draw these like crazy conclusions in my head to the thing that was hurting my self-confidence the most. And of course I finally landed a job, which, you know, was good after like 10 times. But in terms of like friendships, so when you're in your 20s, like we're all like, everyone's still kind of developing into adult. It's more so known that, you know, there's this thing called boundaries, and there's this thing called making sure that you people don't cross them and you enforce them. And just for your own self-esteem, like you need to enforce these boundaries so people don't kind of like cross the line. And with friendships, like, you know, all of my friends were all developing into young women at the time, and I think I didn't have any sense of boundaries on like what people can do or say and things like that, because I felt like I should be grateful that I have a good group of girlfriends because I have such bad acne. You know, back then, I feel like this is very shallow of me to say, and it's the truth. When you're young and you're clubbing and you're like going out with a group of friends, like you want to look really good, right? So you attract guys and you just like, guys buy you drinks. Like you just want to have that princess treatment when you're out with a bunch of girls. And I just felt like I didn't have boundaries. Like I would never say what's on my mind, what bothered me, because I would feel like, okay, well, you should be grateful that you have a group of girlfriends. Who would want to be friends with a girl that has acne because it's not attractive? So I would not, you know, have boundaries or enforce them. And kind of the same idea with relationships too, like romantic relationships. I was in a few toxic relationships and I knew that I didn't deserve that type of treatment. My self-esteem was so low that whenever I had a thought that, you know, this relationship isn't working for me, or I don't deserve this type of treatment, or, you know, why is this person who's supposed to be my boyfriend bringing out this really ugly side of me, I would think, and this is so sad to say, and I want to slap myself for even like thinking this, but I would think like, well, Tammy, you should be lucky that a guy even wants to be your boyfriend, because your skin is so bad. Like nobody wants to be with someone who has really bad skin. It's so unattractive. Yeah, don't even get me started. That is the worst thing anyone could ever say, and I want to slap myself for saying it, but it is the truth, right? And it's not just about acne. Like a lot of things that people can be really insecure about it could take you to that level, and it's sad, but it's the truth. The last type of relationship that I want to touch on is like my relationship with my family. My family, everyone was really worried about my skin, and every time I would see relatives, it would just constantly be a topic. Like, did you try this? And like, you know, don't do this and don't do this and don't do this. And I welcome the love and I guess the care. But then it's like your self-esteem is so low and you're embarrassed about it. It's like you don't want your skin to be the topic about any conversation with your family, right? Like if you're catching up with your family, you haven't seen them in a few months, like the last thing you want to talk about is that. And so it got to a point where I didn't even want to go, I didn't even want to go see my family. Like I didn't want to, you know, catch up with them or even see them. And even when I did see them, even if they didn't bring it up, like the inside pit of my stomach was like, oh, I already know what they're thinking because they're looking at my skin, right? And there's like no, and it's not even like, oh, you know, I love them to death, but like that's the true feeling that it brought. And it really just made me want to like hide away from the world. Like I didn't want to go out, and it was just this vicious cycle. Every single day I'd wake up in the morning, wash my face, look in the mirror and be like, dude, I don't even know which pimples are new anymore because they're just always there. Like now, like I still get breakouts, guys, and now it's like I wake up, I'm like, yeah, that one was there yesterday and then that one was new, and I can kind of tally and keep track. But it was to the point where I couldn't even tell which ones were new or not anymore. Every single time that I needed to step out of the house, I had to cake it on because it was kind of my comfort blanket and my mask to kind of hide the acne, which is so stupid. And I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and you can't cover up blemishes. Like you just can't. And if it's to the point where you're trying to mask it, like everyone can see it, right? And wearing makeup doesn't cover it. Yeah, it kind of just makes it less noticeable, but it's still gonna be there. And the kind of tug of war that I had with myself every single day before I left the house was, do I want to make my skin worse and just make myself feel a little bit better and just, you know, cake on that foundation, or do I just want to suck it up and feel really uneasy and embarrassed the whole time that I'm out? Even if it was just to like the grocery store or the gas station, like a really quick errand, or like I remember one time I had to drop something off at my friend's house and I had to like cake it on because I didn't want them to see what was really going on here. Not to mention like sleepovers, trips, like even trips with boyfriends. Like the first thing I would think about is, how am I gonna hide my blemishes? And it's like, sorry to tell you, girl, like you can't hide it. Like it's, people know it's there. That's what I dealt with for literally over 10 years. You're probably asking if it affected you so much, like what took you so long to go on Accutane? And by the way, guys, like I was trying a bunch of things. It's not like I never tried stuff. I tried a bunch of stuff, but they just never worked. I remember finally for 2 or 3 years of my life, and I remember I was single at this time, and I was like approaching my 30s, and I was thinking I really want to work on myself, and this whole acne problem is, I knew that it was affecting me in all aspects of my life. I remember there was a point in my life, and it was like 2 to 3 years, where I just thought, it was like after trying a bunch of things, and I was just like, I give up. Maybe these are the cards that I was dealt with, right? Like everybody has struggles in their life. Like not everyone's perfect, and it's just about perspective and like what every person has gone through. Everyone has their own struggles, and I understand that. And I just thought that, okay, well, this is a struggle that I have to deal with for the rest of my life. And in a weird but like calming way, it just kind of like put me at ease a little bit. My self-confidence was still low, but I wasn't in that crazy panic of trying to fix it, like trying all these things anymore. I just accepted it. I'm like, I'm just gonna be that girl with acne for the rest of my life. And I lived with it for like 2 to 3 years that I was single. I was like, I'm just like, this is me, you know? Finally, when I was approaching my 30s, I think for me, and I'm sure maybe for most people, turning 30 is kind of like a big milestone. And at this age, you're mature and you kind of think about, like, you self-reflect, and you really just focus on personal growth. You get to know yourself a lot better. And during this time, like I was dating for these 2 to 3 years that I was single, but like nothing serious. Yeah, right around my early 30s, I started dating someone really seriously, which I'm not dating anymore. But in this relationship, like, okay, what are the things that I've had in my previous relationships, in my life in general, that I want to close the chapter on and move on with? Everyone has self-esteem issues, and mine wasn't just about acne, but there are just a bunch of things that I wanted to just not bring into this relationship and just like start a new chapter and just be the best self that I can. Everyone's always saying it, like you have to be the best version of you before you are a thriving relationship. And I truly, truly believe that. So when I got into this relationship, I was like, you know, one of the things that I really want to work on is my skin, because I was like, I can't imagine just like that. Yeah, I came to terms with it, but then I feel like it just like bubbled up in my body again. And I was like, I'm not gonna accept that. What? Because like I've had acne for over 10 years of my life. I just have to say, okay, for the next 70 years, I have to have acne? Like, no. So anyways, that's when it really turned a new leaf, and I wrote in my journal, and this, when I turned 30 was when I started like doing like journaling, manifestation, things like that. And I really wrote down all the things I needed to do, all the things I needed to try systematically in an organized way, being consistent and not giving up and not panicking, like all the things I needed to try. There are a bunch of things on there, like, you know, don't eat spicy food. I stopped eating spicy food. Like try Eastern medicine, herbal medicine, Western medicine, facials. Like I had a list of all these things that I needed to try, that I tried before, but I think I just did it in a, oh, try 2 times and it didn't work, like move on to the next thing. Also in my 20s, like my life was more fast, going out, like having this, going this, like doing all these things. But I think when I hit my 30s was when it got a little more slow and my priorities kind of shifted, which was this, like, you know, clearing my skin was actually one of my priorities. After 2 to 3 years of just kind of like letting it be the way it was, I decided to make it a priority. So you guys might know from my previous videos, like that's how I came to decide to go on Accutane, because when I was going to the doctor, I told myself that I would go to the doctor every single month or whatever it was, whenever it was time to do for a checkup, because I was going to try every single thing. It took like months. I would try something for 1 or 2, 3 months, it would clear up, but then it would come back again. And then I have to try something else and it would work for maybe 1 month, then it would come back again. Like everything was just work for a little bit because I was being consistent, and then it would like revert back. And that's when my doctor recommended Accutane. Accutane wasn't even something that I looked into on my own research, because I don't know if you guys have seen those commercials. If you had a baby and they came out deformed and you were on Accutane, like call this number, like there's a case going on for it. And I didn't know much about it, and I researched it after the doctor brought it up. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like if you guys look up all the risks about Accutane and like real life stories of people who have taken it, who have had liver failure, kidney failure, erectile dysfunction, all these things that were side effects of taking Accutane, you're kind of like, oh my god, like, is that something I really, really want to do? I didn't know. It took me a few weeks for me to decide. The doctor said, hey, you know, like think about it, you know, really research it. They give you this like whole big folder of like information on it. This is what I want to share with you guys. Like this is why, after the long-winded story, this is why I decided to go on Accutane. I was very self-aware of the emotions, the damage in my self-confidence, the way I thought, like a lot of like, not only was it going on like, you know, physically on my face, but really affected me mentally. I felt like, you know, not worthy of a lot of things, and I just thought to myself like, okay, if you take Accutane, there's this long list of stuff that can happen to you, and on top of that, it's not gonna like, doesn't mean it's gonna clear it. If you don't take Accutane, you could just keep trying all these things and keep trying all these things. And I just thought, I'm a grown-ass woman. I am in control of my environment, and like self-esteem and just like boundaries, enforcing them, things like that. These are all things that I was working on in parallel to making this decision. And I was thinking like, I am the boss of my environment. I am the CEO of me. I'm going to make the best decision for me because I know I'm going to do the research. I know only I know what I've been through in here dealing with this acne. If I make this decision to go on Accutane and one of these or a couple of these like side effects happen to me, then I have to take full responsibility and deal with it. But do I want to not take Accutane and try a bunch of other things? Like my doctor wasn't even for Accutane and we already tried a bunch of things and she was like, I think that's the last option. I'm gonna put my big girl panties on. I'm gonna do it. And if anything happens, then I have to suffer the consequences and I will deal with it then. And that's when I made the decision, guys. And you guys, like, I'm not saying go on Accutane, but I'm just saying, like, you are the boss of your environment. You should know, like, what you have went through, what you have researched, what you have not researched. Like, you should be confident in whatever decision you make. But in terms of me, like, I was ready to take on that responsibility and take on the disappointment. Any emotions that would come negative from Accutane, I was ready for it. And I think that's what got me through it, because you do kind of go into like a little depression mode when you're on it. I could do another video on that, and I have, but I could do an updated one. I don't regret it, guys. And you guys, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I still get breakouts, but they're manageable now. Like I was after Accutane, I was able to start from like a clean slate and like really build good skincare foundations, really research on, you know, what causes acne, what doesn't, what acids to put together, things like that. Like that's why I started this channel, because you guys are on the journey with me to get flawless skin. I don't have flawless skin yet. But it's the journey that you enjoy, and I want to share it with you guys. One more thing before my camera dies. Being able to like, see my skin clearly for the first time will be a morning that I will never forget. It's not like it was like overnight, but I remember waking up one morning and just washing my face and really paying attention. Scaly skin from Accutane, peeling, gross, nasty, even like gaining a few pounds from not working out, not feeling my best. But looking in the mirror and being able to see my face for the first time with no blemishes, best feeling in the world. And I haven't seen my face like that since like I was 17 years old. And that just, I will never forget that feeling. And just even after that, like any obstacle that I face now, whether it's like, you know, things I don't like about my body, things I don't like about my hair, things I don't like about my, you know, XYZ. Like, I feel like I am empowered now because I was able to overcome something that really affected my life. I am empowered now to really make changes for the better for me. It's the best feeling in the world. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I almost got a little emotional, but if you guys are really on the fence on going on Accutane, do your research, understand what, you know, what might happen if, you know, things go awry, and just be an adult and, you know, make these decisions for yourself. Don't make it for anyone, and just make sure you do all your research. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you guys haven't already, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.